So you're thinking about moving to North County, San Diego? Well, today we're gonna go through all the goods, the bads, the uglies, everything in between. We've lived here our entire lives. So we have a little insight into all of North County, San Diego, from like San Marcos and inland to the coastal areas and everything in between. So if you're interested in all the pros and cons of living here in North County, San Diego, stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And I'm Chris Erickson.
And we are both realtors here in North County, San Diego. This is where you come for all things North County. We're dropping new videos every week, so if this is your first time here, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. We're dropping new videos on neighborhoods, things to do, places to go, and everything in between. And if you're thinking about moving to San Diego, definitely hit us up, call, text, email. We love helping people relocate to the area that we live, work, play. We love San Diego, so we love helping people get here.
So we are both born and raised here in North County, San Diego. We've lived here most of our entire lives. We've kind of left, not really, just a little tiny bit.
Couple years, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of college action, a little bit of Tahoe action, but we've always come back here. And for good reason. There's a lot of awesome stuff here about North County, San Diego, but there's also some bad stuff, which we're gonna fill you into. Living our whole lives here, we kind of have some insight into kind of different areas. You've heard the weather is great. You've heard the beaches are fantastic. But what about the traffic? The walkability in some communities are kind of a lot of North County or lack thereof. And then things like commuting, if you're going to downtown or Orange County, what's that like? And then the cost of living here, which is pretty high here. So we'll get into all that. We're gonna start off with the weather. One of the main reasons that we have lived here and stayed here our whole lives is the gorgeous weather that we do live in. We have like 140 something sunny days, another 117 partly cloudy days. The rest are kind of somewhere in between. For the most part, we're standing right now in the end of December, right around Christmas time, and it's pretty gorgeous out. It was the last few days, it's been nearly 70 degrees. Right now it's a little cooler, so we got our long sleeves on, but anybody coming from like the East Coast or anywhere where it actually gets cold is gonna kind of laugh at us because we're kind of wimps when it comes to the cold. Usually if it drops below like 65, I'm throwing on my dad Patagonia jacket. For the most part, it is true. It is sunny a lot of the time, but on the con side of that, we do only get like 12 inches of rain every year. So that has a few cons. You know, in California in general, we have been in severe droughts in recent times, which there's water restrictions sometimes. And in homes, a lot of the fixtures have to be low flow water, so toilets, faucets, all that kind of stuff. So along with the beautiful weather, it is still super dry. So you will notice, cruise around if you're looking at houses or whatever, around here, a lot of the homes have gone to like dryscape, like a lot of succulents and kind of a lot of plants and stuff that you take little to no water. So over the past few years, you've seen less lawns just to help save water throughout the county. Another thing with the dry weather, we do have something called Santa Anas, which is like these strong easterly winds coming from the mountains, blowing back towards the coast. Most of the time, the wind is coming from the coast, kind of inland. It's nice, these cool breezes, but Santa Anas are gonna blow in every now and again. Now there are a little bit of pros for that. It does make that there's some swell in the water. The surf might be a little better. It gets nice and groomed. So surfers kind of dig it, but firefighters don't, because with that dry, hot air, it is, the fire danger does go up quite a bit. So during those times, we're gonna have heat warnings and high wind warnings and red flag warnings, which are just kind of higher fire danger times throughout the year. And we're filming actually in Lake San Marcos the other day, cruising through, and these Santa Anas were howling through there. We actually did golf that day, which was a little bit difficult, but being outside all day, your lips are chapped, your nose is all dry, your hands are all dry. Everything's just like super dry during those times. So it doesn't happen all the time. And actually during that day too, we did see a fire sprout up kind of in the backside of San Marcos. They put it out real quick. That is something that comes with the Santa Ana winds.
One of the other things with the Santa Ana winds, definitely when there's fire danger, there's also opportunity for our local power company, SDG&E, to shut power off in areas where there might be some issues if lines go down, because they don't want those to create fires. Recently, our power in San Diego Hills was shut down for almost 12 hours just for a planned outage, just to try to keep things safe if there was strong winds and lines that went down. So just something to keep in mind. Also during the summer, if everybody's running their AC during heat waves, because every now and then we get some heat waves that cook North County, get up into the high 90s. Everybody that's a little bit more inland is definitely using their air conditionings, and sometimes that creates some issues and some rolling blackouts. And one thing to think about too, since it doesn't rain here very often, San Diegans are definitely not great drivers in the rain. We are very well known for being
Us included.
Us included, yeah, very well known for driving very slowly when it comes to rain. If you are coming from a rainy spot, be patient. We are not great at driving in the rain.
If you are commuting to work or kind of, anywhere during rainy times, it doesn't like rain all that often, but when it does, those roads do get slick because the oil's been sitting on the roads for a little bit, but just plan like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes extra for your commute, depending on where you're going, just to be sure that you're gonna be able to get there on time, because we are gonna be driving slow.
Another pro is we might be bad drivers, but we're nice people. San Diego is definitely well known for having kind of more laid back, just easygoing people.
So even during those rain times when people are driving around a little bit frustrated, nobody's really honking, nobody's kind of yelling out the window, flipping each other off. It's just like cruising around, being laid back. You know it's gonna take some more time. We've had clients here from other states. We're showing them houses out and about, and they were just like, wow, people are so, like, just even the UPS guy cruise around like a little wave. He's like, you would never see that back at home. So it's just everybody, friendly, open the door for people, and just kind of neighborly in general. And with San Diego and our weather, we have a ton of outdoor time. There's a lot of things to do outside, a lot of events going on around town. Right here in Encinitas, where I live, there's a few street fairs a year down on the main street. They have the holiday parade, they have a car show during the summers. They have, last year they shut it down and let kids cruise around, or kind of anybody cruise around down the street on bikes. They shut down like the main downtown area. So a lot of these events and stuff, farmers markets.
And then also our parks are huge here in North County, San Diego. Carlsbad has some great parks, Encinitas has some great parks, and there's different things to see at each of them. For instance, Carlsbad every summer does concerts in the park, which is great. They rotate between their 4 main parks and have concerts. You can bring food, you can bring beverages, adult beverages. Let the kids run around, listen and watch some great music. It's great for local sports also. Our kids play baseball, so they get to play mostly year round. Like in other places, you have to play indoor baseball for parts of the winter. We get to play all the way through Thanksgiving. Definitely a great positive for living in North County, San Diego.
And we even have ice hockey here. There's a few ice hockey rinks. Okay, that's inside because it's obviously hot outside for a lot of the year, but we do have a few ice skating rinks, so they do have leagues and stuff going on there. A lot of these parks also you're gonna find in like these master plan communities. San Alejo Hills has a bunch of little community parks around. Once again, you have all the sports. Calavera Hills over in Carlsbad. There's just a lot of these areas where they do have like these community parks for everybody to cruise around, and I mean, they're public parks as well, but most of the people who are using them do live right in that community, and nobody's too far from any of these parks. A lot of the parks too have like movies in the parks or other little events. Where he is in San Alejo, they have like beer tasting events and other Christmas events and Easter events throughout the year, and that's not rare to find throughout different communities here in North County.
But one of the cons is our walkability here in North County, San Diego. Pretty much actually all of San Diego. There's not a ton of master plan or even communities that have a ton of walkability. There's a couple like Bresci Ranch and some of the downtown Carlsbad, Encinitas, Oceanside areas where you can walk to a whole bunch of bars and restaurants. But for the most part, most of the communities have tons of hills, so it makes it hard to just walk down and grab a beer somewhere. So if walkability is a big factor for you, there are just a few spots to choose from. But everything is like a 20-minute drive away. We always talk about that. Any amenity you can think of is super close, just a quick little drive away. So even though the walkability is not there, it's definitely a driving city, so parking is always easy, and it's easy to get to places that you want to get to.
So yeah, it is a commuter town. Everybody's driving, everybody has cars. Population is like a few million. Does that add to a lot of traffic? Kinda depends on where you're going, where you're working. We're self-employed, we're cruising around town all day, showing houses. Our schedule's a little bit different. Everybody's working from home right now too, so it has, well, in the past few months, it's kind of got back up to normal, but previously it kind of slowed down a little bit. But if you are traveling, let's say you're living in North County, working downtown, the commute, you're gonna definitely have to think about that, because depending on the time of day, you're going up and down the 5 freeway or up and down the 15 freeway and cutting across to go downtown, it can get kind of frustrating. Especially coming home, after a long day of work, you're cruising back up the 5 freeway, and right where the 5 and the 805 meet, it's called the Golden Triangle, there is a ton of congestion because it's 2 freeways coming together. So definitely during those rush hours. My wife used to actually work down in San Diego while we were living in North County, and she had to change jobs because she could not take the commute. It was not great, but depending on kind of where you're working, what time you're going to work, kind of how flexible your schedule is will have a lot to do with that. There are a lot of little corridors going through here, the 76 to the north, the 78 freeway is the main drag in North County going east to west, and then the 5 and the 15. Down to the south, we have the 56, which connects it as well. So it's kind of like a big box of freeways. Anywhere in between though, you're taking side roads, you're taking smaller roads. So as you're cruising through there, you might be moving, but the timeline to get places might be a little bit longer as compared to the freeway. San Diego has taken that into consideration, and they're constantly upgrading the freeways. So right now they're doing a huge project. Basically starting in Solana Beach, they're making carpool lanes and expanding the freeway to go all the way up through Oceanside. The 15, they've had carpool lanes in there forever, so you get express passes and kind of cut off a little bit of traffic. It does cost a little bit of money, but you just put it in your window and alleviate some of the traffic there. The 78 needs some work. They've been trying to keep up with all the growth and stuff going in there. Definitely during times when those rush hours, those busier times of the day, you are going to see a lot of traffic going through there. So just be calm, take a deep breath, put on your favorite podcast. Depending on where you are living in North County, if you're working in North County, it's not going to be a huge deal. But if you are commuting down to San Diego or kind of the business area of North County, like in the 805, Mira Mesa, Miramar area, or shooting up to Orange County, it's not horrible. It's not like LA traffic. It's just kind of slowdowns here and there unless there's an accident or whatever. But it is something to think about.
And then one last thing on traffic. Since North County is a tourist destination, a lot of people come here for the beaches, for Legoland, for the golf. So we do see a lot of people come in during the summer. So Encinitas, like downtown Encinitas, downtown Carlsbad, like in the Village area, and downtown Oceanside definitely get a little more congested during the summer, especially around the beach parking lots and areas like that.
But also living up here, one of the things I really love is the local summer, and it's after the normal summer. We're coming into September, October, maybe in a little bit November, where the tourism has kind of slowed down a little bit. The beaches had cleared out a little bit, so surfing, biking down the coast, just going out and about, it's a little more mellow. We just call it local summer here. We get those extra few months to kind of like enjoy the beautiful weather, but everybody's back at school. Everybody's kind of gone back to where they live, and we get to kind of cruise around town and enjoy it.
One of the pros about living here in North County, San Diego is our food and beer scene for sure. We have a lot of great spots. So for convenience wise, there definitely is all the big places, the chain places you can think of. But our local restaurant scene here is pretty awesome. Obviously we're on the coast, so there's a ton of great seafood spots. Pacific Coast Grill in Cardiff is one of our favorites. And there's a bunch of great restaurants in every town. In the downtown areas of Encinitas, Carlsbad, Vista, San Marcos, all of the spots have really great local restaurants to check out. There's a ton of great sushi spots. Great pizza spots for any kind of pizza that you're into.
And even outside those downtown, downtown Carlsbad, Encinitas, Vista, outside of that, there's like, these commercial kind of retail centers, and there's some hidden gems inside of all those little sushi places, Thai places, Italian places. Like, you just have to kind of search around, and right next to your local Vons, there could be like a killer little Thai restaurant.
Or in Lucadia, there could be an Italian Chinese restaurant that's delicious. So there's also a couple kind of medium-sized restaurant chains, some local groups, like the Cohen Group is one of our favorites. They have 333 in Oceanside. They've got Ventana out in Escondido above a Lexus dealership, which sounds crazy, but it's great food and it's actually a really pretty spot. And then they have restaurants all over the county also. One of our favorites is near downtown called Island Prime. Great views of downtown San Diego and really, really good food. And then the other amazing part about living in North County is definitely our beer scene. There's a ton of local breweries, from the big boys like Stone to the up and coming breweries like Virgin, and all the way down to the small little spots that are just getting started. There are a ton of options for beer, and it really goes to whatever flavor you like too. I'm an IPA guy, it's pretty much all I drink, but I do like trying other things too. Even if you're into some crazy stuff, if you like the barrel-aged stouts or you like some sours or vices, there's definitely great spots to check out all over the county.
And the places to go have a beer, there's a ton of different styles. Like Cassidy mentioned Stone, it's this beautiful outdoor garden area. You can walk around, you can bring the kids out there. There's like picnic style dining, walk around, they have like a little pond back there. It's really pretty. We also have our local watering holes like right in our community. I have BTR right here. There's a newer one over in San Elijo Hills, the Sanctuary, which is Lost Abbey. They have a few tasting rooms throughout. They have one in Cardiff as well. They have like the warehouse style, you know, where they're actually brewing the beer, tasting rooms. Like the crew over at Bergen, they're always having can releases as well. So it's just a thriving beer scene. Like no matter what style, no matter what type, no matter what kind of place you want to drink it in, family friendly, you just want to go have a beer with the boys. There's all that kind of stuff up here.
So one of the things that San Diego is obviously really well known for is our Mexican food, which Chris and I could live on Mexican food. I could have a burrito for every meal. Sometimes I do.
Agreed.
But there's really great spots. There's hundreds of taco shop options to check out, and they're all different. They all have their own specialties. They all have their own salsas. And then if you're looking for a little bit more of a restaurant style, we just hit up Casero Taqueria, which is in Bresci Ranch, which is a newer restaurant. Killer food, got a great carne asada burrito and carnitas tacos. So, and they have great margaritas. Just a great spot if you want to sit down and have some great Mexican food. One of our other favorites is Norte and Fidel's. There's Fidel's in Solana Beach and Norte up in Carlsbad. Great spot that's been there since I was a little kid, and nothing's changed.
And a lot of the like taco shop styles are 24 hours, so you get a burrito at any time of the day. There's no shortage of places. Everybody is gonna find their own little neighborhood one, convenience-wise, like right next door or right down the road. Some people like to drive to their favorite breakfast burrito spot. So let's jump into a little bit of a con about living here in North County, San Diego, and it's the cost of living. Now, we just recently did an entire video, we'll have it for you right above, that breaks down the entire cost of living that we're gonna go through a little bit right now, but go check that out if you want kind of like an in-depth, super in-depth video of that. First cost is housing costs, so like your mortgage, and it's gonna be on the higher side, you know, than the average throughout the United States. It's pretty high up there. Our median prices are pretty high. Part of the reason that our median price is so high is because we do have a lot of that coastal living, a lot of those beachfront homes and those beach communities that are gonna be a little more expensive, but there are more affordable places too that you still get that whole vibe of North County, but you're gonna be paying a lot less for housings. You get into like Vista, San Marcos, even inland Oceanside, it goes back quite a bit. Rancho de Oro, that whole area back there is killer.
So when you're thinking about moving out this way, definitely housing prices are going to be one of the things that you think about. So definitely a reason to get in touch with us nice and early to do some planning. We have great local lenders to hook you up with too, to kind of give you the best idea of what you can afford out here. So definitely call us, text us, email. We love helping people move to San Diego. One of the other things that is a cost that you have to think about is childcare. Preschools and daycares are expensive, and also there are wait lists for a lot of them. So if you are thinking about moving out here, definitely start looking for those daycares or preschool options if that's something you're looking at.
So there's a lot of different options for daycares. You can do home daycares, nanny shares, nannies, but you know, stay-at-home nannies. They have kind of the chain preschools. And then my little guy, he actually goes to an outdoor preschool. So it's kind of somebody's house, but they're cruising around the backyard. They're outdoor doing activities all day. There's chickens there, there's a garden. So there are options like that as well. And like you said, when they do get to kindergarten, it's free. But partially, the way that we pay for that is through our taxes. And taxes here in California are pretty high. We have state taxes, we have county taxes, we have obviously federal taxes, but once again, property taxes. Now your property taxes are gonna be based on what you purchase your home for, and it's about 1.25%. And sometimes on your property tax, you'll see something called CFDs, which are Mello-Roos or bonds that they raised to help build the community and build all the amenities out for the community before they actually started selling the home. So a lot of the newer master plan communities will have that additional cost on top of it.
We definitely here in North County, San Diego, tend to eat out a little bit more. There's some great spots for outdoor eating, which we can do 90% of the year. And then there's just a ton of options, a ton of new spots to try, new breweries to hit.
Before like the craft beer scene blew up here, we were drinking like Coors Lights and all that, just cheap stuff. Now we're drinking craft beer because it's delicious and we have it right here, but with that comes a higher price tag. So you're paying for quality, you're paying for deliciousness, but it is a little more costly than, like the cheap beer at the store.
One of the other things to think about are your utilities. One of the main ones would be electric and gas. So since it is kind of temperate all year, you don't have to use your furnace very often. I think we've used our heater once over the last 2 or 3 years. So definitely don't have to worry about that during the winters. But during the summer, since I live a little bit more inland in San Marcos, so you have to think about using your AC. We probably use it 40 or 50 days throughout the year during like heat waves and things like that. And it bumps our power bill up quite a bit. We usually average about $150, but during the summer it can bump up to $300, sometimes $400. if we have a really, really hot month.
And a lot of people out here do have pools, and so that's going to be an additional cost if you're going to heat the pool. Obviously, that's going to be a lot. Not too many people do that. The swim season is mostly going to be kind of during that summertime when the pool is warm enough out where the pool kind of heats itself, because it's very costly to run that gas and kind of get it up. I think Cassidy was just saying his pool's like 50 degrees right now.
50.
It's pretty cold. So it gets very cold in the winter, but you do have a decent chunk of time where you're able to use it. One way that some people do offset the power cost out here is solar panels. Since we do have a lot of sunny days, put solar panels on their roof, and you can either buy them or lease them. Now people buy them, and sometimes it doesn't offset the entire cost depending on how big the house is or where it's situated. And then if you are going to be buying a house out here, some people do lease the solar panels, which means they're borrowing them or renting them from the solar companies, so they do pay that fee. And if you are getting a loan when you're moving out here for the home you're purchasing, the lender is going to tack that amount on, so it might make your numbers mess up a little bit. So just kind of keep that in your head. So if you do see solar on the property, maybe ask us a question, what is it bought, is it leased, and get you a little more information on that.
And then, like we mentioned before, transportation is a cost here. It is a driving community. There's a little bit of public transportation, but for the most part, most people have cars here. Most people are driving to work. So the main factor, if we're driving a car, is gas prices. And in California, they are definitely higher than most states in the US. So definitely something to think about. I just paid $3.30 today, which is actually pretty good for us. And I drive a truck. Luckily, I don't drive much. I don't commute anywhere. Definitely the cost of gas is an issue if you are driving a bigger vehicle like I am.
And we've been seeing lately a lot of people locally have been buying Teslas, electric cars, kind of charge them at home. And with that, I've been seeing out and about, like Lazy Acres over in Encinitas, a few other stores, they are putting in like charging ports for these cars. So you don't have to just charge them at home. You could drive to the store, charge it while you're there.
So another pro of living in North County is we don't have bugs. A lot of parts of the country, you have to worry about bugs during the summer. We don't have that issue. Don't have to worry about mosquitoes or getting bit. Since it's so dry here, there's not a ton of standing water, so you're not getting a bunch of mosquitoes. There's no real lakes or ponds except for a couple little man-made ones. But during the summer, you will see some ants, especially if it starts to get a little drier out. You'll see some ants coming into the kitchen looking for water. Also, something to think about are termites. When you're purchasing a house here in California, we always suggest getting a termite inspection. See if there's any active termites. There probably will be. So termites are just kind of standard here in San Diego, in Southern California. So just something to think about. Some of the other critters we have are rattlesnakes, coyotes, bobcats, mountain lions. But so the last two we see very rarely. You'll see coyotes every now and then.
One other thing that's very cool about living right here in North County, San Diego, it's a great jumping off spot, things to do, ton of stuff. We already went over a few things to do, but we're talking more like getting out of town. If you want to go to the desert, to the mountains, even if you want to catch the train from North County, the train tracks are running right along the coast, which is a pretty beautiful ride. But you catch it, go downtown, go to a Padres game, or just cruise around, go to the bars and restaurants down in the Gaslamp district. You could hop off on Old Town, which it's a lot of Mexican food there as well, margaritas galore.
And San Diego is definitely centrally located for road trips. There are a ton of spots. We just recently dropped a podcast episode of North County Now about road trips in the area. And there's a ton of options for just 1-2 hour road trips, 4 to 6, 8-hour drives. There's a lot of different things you can get to. You can get to a lot of cool coastal stuff. You can get up into the mountains. You can get up into the snow pretty quick here in San Diego, which most people don't know, that you can get to a ski or a snowboard spot in just about 2.5 hours. So a lot here that you can get to in a short time. So we just recently did a trip up the Central Coast to Morro Bay, which was really, really cool. A cool little community, beach community, ton of cool sights to see, ton of cool creatures like otters and seals and stuff. So a really fun road trip up to that area.
And in that mid-range road trip, every year my pops and my grandpa, we go out to Vegas for Martin Luther King Day, and it's like a 4.5-5 hour drive, just a cruise through the desert up to 15. We've also recently shot up to Mammoth, which is a little bit longer, 6.5-7 hours, but a really great ski mountain, a lot of other stuff to do. They have Mammoth Brewery up there, which is killer. I know he's been a few times, but cabins, little places to eat, but mostly the big draw is the mountains. And in the summertime, you could also go up and go camping, fishing, all that kind of stuff.
So San Diego has an international airport. It's not a huge airport, it's not like LA, but you can definitely get to a lot of places. We go to Hawaii at least every year, and it's a quick little 5-hour flight over to any island, and there's a lot of direct flights now through Alaska Airlines and also Southwest, so super easy to get out to Hawaii, get to the tropics, which is always a great time.
If you want to hop up to Utah, go to Park City and see all that Salt Lake has to offer, you can hop on a quick little flight over there. It's only a few hours, or even a little bit further to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Went up there for a bachelor party a few years back and it wasn't too bad.
So if you don't feel like driving to Vegas too, like Chris mentioned, it's about a 5.5-hour drive, but flying there, you're in the air less than an hour. So super quick little flight out to Las Vegas, which is always a fun time. So those are the pros and cons of living here in North County, San Diego. Definitely a lot of positives. The weather is great. You can always be outside. There's a ton of activities to do, from cycling to surfing to hiking. There's a lot to do outside. Also kind of just brought up some of the negative things like traffic. Cost of living is a little higher than most places. We talked about the great food options we have, the amazing beer options we have. Just like any place, it's got its goods and bads. We might be a little biased. We've lived here our whole lives and we love living in North County, San Diego.
So if you are thinking about moving here to North County, San Diego, be sure to hit us up. Call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We love helping people make that move, start putting a plan together. Even if you're 6 months, a year out, give us a buzz. We could start working on that right now, just so that when you are ready to get out here, you're all set. And if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're dropping new videos every single week, all things North County, vlog style, neighborhoods, things to do, these style videos, everything in between. I'm Chris Erickson.
And I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And we are local realtors here in North County, San Diego. We'll catch you next time.